After New Year's, my wife had her assistant, Marcus Smith, throw the company party. At the event, Marcus handed out bonuses to everyone except me. I was about to go up there and ask what the hell was going on when he called me out in front of everybody. Quinn Foster, you haven't done jack for this company. How do you still have the balls to stand here begging? I smiled at him, ripped off my employee badge, and stop on it. As I headed for the door, Marcus yelled after me, you can leave, but that company's shirt stays here. Take it off right now. I stopped dead. Did this guy seriously not know I own the damn company? Everyone was staring at me. I called her a few times before she finally picked up. Then I heard Vivian Caldwell's annoyed voice. And what's your problem now? This meeting is huge for the company. Can't you wait till I get back? I looked over at Marcus and said no. Next thing I know, Vivian's cursing me out over the phone. Yes, I told Marcus to fire you. Happy now? I waited a second before asking why. Vivian laughed the mean kind and said, why? I'm the chairman of Caldwell Group. Do I need a reason to fire someone? You've been sales manager for 3 years without selling a damn thing. And you're asking me why? By the end, even though I turned the volume way down, everyone in the room could hear her. Quinn, listen up. Mildred. Group doesn't carry dead weight. Then she hung up on me. The room went silent. You all heard that, right? Even Vivian called Quinn dead weight. Why keep him around? Marcus stood up there looking smug. I'd pack your stuff and go home if I were you. Then he smiled at me. If you're gonna mooch off someone, at least be good at it. Don't you think, Mr. Foster? I stared at him and let out a cold laugh. What you're saying is the company doesn't need me at all. Marcus's face lit up. He thought I just walked into his trap. Well, duh. During work, you're either on your phone or playing games. You don't know anything about the business. If you weren't married to Vivian, you'd have been gone ages ago. Keeping dead weight like you around is just wasting money. I held up my finger and shook it. Nope. I think everything you said was right, except for one thing. Marcus looked surprised that I sounded so confident. What don't you agree with? You don't seriously think Caldwell Group can survive without you, do you? I smiled and nodded. You're exactly right. If I leave, Caldwell Group goes down immediately. Soon as I said that, the quiet room exploded. Oh my God, this guy's delusional. Caldwell is a publicly traded company, top 500 nationwide. How's it gonna collapse because of one little manager? Right. This guy just rides on being the chairman's husband. He's been lazy for 3 years, doing nothing but collecting a paycheck. He's disgusting. How do people like this even exist? Pretty boy freeloader just dropped dead already. The trash talk got louder and louder. But I didn't care cause every word I said was true. Caldwell Group went from a tiny nobody company 3 years ago to a publicly traded corporation with over 10,000 employees. And that was all me. Or really the connections I brought. It had nothing to do with Vivian. Back then, Caldwell Group's founder, Gregory Caldwell, flew all the way from Boston to New York just to beg me to marry his granddaughter. And he had a marriage contract with him. It did have my grandfather's signature on it. I was young and didn't know what love was. I figured if Grandpa set it up this way, he had his reasons. But I never thought that. After building Caldwell Group into what it is today, they turn around and call me dead weight. That pissed me off. Right then I decided to confront Gregory Caldwell face to face and ask him straight up if the Caldwell family was planning to screw me over. If he kept Vivian as chairman, I'd have no problem sending the Caldwell family right back to where they were 3 years ago. Wait. Just as I turned to leave, Marcus called out, "You're just gonna walk out like that?" I slowly turned back. Around what? You're gonna invite me to stay for dinner? Marcus stared at me with this nasty grin before saying, "Before you go, you need to leave company property behind." I narrowed my eyes at him. "I already gave you my badge. What else is there?" Marcus laughed, then raised the mic. "Take off that company uniform you're wearing." The room erupted again. Most people looked at me like they were enjoying the show. Only a few people I was cool with gave me sympathetic looks. When you're down, everyone kicks you. When I was still a manager, they all kissed my ass. Now that I was fired, not one person stood up for me. Was this the quality of employees at a publicly traded company? Honestly, 3 years was too fast for the company to get this big. The Caldwell family couldn't handle it when I didn't respond. Marcus got impatient. "Hey, I'm talking to you. You pretending you can't hear me?" I smiled at him. "What if I don't take it off? You're the first person who's ever had the guts to threaten me. To my face. I wonder where you got the balls." Marcus raised his eyebrows full of contempt, like he didn't take me seriously at all. "Quinn, even your wife doesn't want you anymore. What right do you have to act tough with me?" I couldn't help but laugh. "Who told you I need to rely on Vivian?" Soon as I said that, several employees near Marcus started piling on. "Oh, wow. Look who's talking. It's just Vivian's little lapdog. Exactly. I thought you had some big connections. Turns out you're just a freeloader. A boy toy. If Vivian finds out about this, you'd probably be sleeping on the couch all night. They were laughing and having a great time. I quietly memorized all their names. If I'm not wrong, you guys are with Marcus, right? As a good businessman, being observant is basic. From the start of the meeting, these people have been making eyes at Marcus. Red envelopes they got were way bigger than everyone else's. Some could barely fit in their pockets. Company policy clearly said annual bonuses were the same for everyone, no matter what. But these guys were obviously different. Marcus must have done something shady. Poor Vivian, trusting such an important task to him. Even I, the actual owner, couldn't stand watching this. You're talking crap. We have nothing to do with Marcus. That's right. We're just speaking up. Because we can't stand you hogging company resources. You're just a freeloader. What right do you have to question us? I tried to stay calm and glared at them. I'll admit, I'm better looking than all of you. And younger, too. But halfway through, I suddenly raised my voice and my look got sharp. I really hate being called a boy toy. Don't use that word again, or I'll get pissed. And you won't like what happens. My sudden intensity scared those lackeys. They couldn't say a word. Seeing someone mess with his people, Marcus's face changed. You little punk. I guess I've been too easy on you. You're just some unemployed loser who got fired. And you dare lecture my employees in front of me? Let me tell you something. Today, I'm not just firing you. I'm gonna make you streak out of here. Hearing Marcus's words, I almost lost it laughing. Boston's business scene was way more entertaining than New York's. At least here, I could watch clowns perform. Marcus, can what you say actually represent the company? I looked at him calmly, though I was pretty excited inside. As soon as I finished, Marcus waved his hand. Of course. Quinn, let me be straight with you. Vivian's about to divorce you. She never liked you from the start. I smiled, my face showing zero panic. Oh, really? Did Vivian actually tell you that? Marcus nodded, eyes full of contempt. What else? You don't seriously think the chairman of a publicly traded company would like a useless guy like you? Do you? If it wasn't for the old chairman, you should have been kicked out long ago. So I was right. The Caldwell family thought they were strong enough now and wanted to ditch me, but he picked the wrong guy. This whole use and toss thing wouldn't work on me. If I could make the Caldwell family the top of Boston's 4 great families in such a short time, I could naturally knock them down and leave them with nothing. For me, it was just one phone call. But suddenly I changed my mind. This cat and mouse game had to be played all the way through to be fun. After all, the main player hadn't even shown up yet. How could it end so fast? Marcus still didn't know what I was planning. Seeing me standing there, he thought I chickened out and got even more bold. Hey, Quinn, everyone's waiting. You gonna strip or not? If you won't do it yourself, I'll get someone to help you. With that, he raised the mic and yelled toward the door. Security, get in here now. Following Marcus's shout, more than a dozen guys wearing Caldwell Group badges rushed into the room. Under Marcus's orders, these security guards rushed at me and surrounded me. The same time Marcus had walked down from the stage. But he was pretty chicken. He only stood behind the guards, about 6 feet away from me. Marcus, you planning to use force on me? Don't forget, I'm not divorced yet. Aren't you afraid Vivian will hold you accountable? As soon as I said that, Marcus burst out laughing. I knew you'd use Vivian as a shield. Good thing I was ready. With that, he pulled out his phone in front of everyone and called Vivian. After she picked up, he smiled nastily and handed me the phone. Vivian has something to say to you? Vivian's voice came through the phone fast. Quinn, I want a divorce, I said flatly. From your tone, Vivian, you've already found your next guy, haven't you? I could feel Vivian's excitement even through the phone. How much money do you want? Name your price. As long as you agree to divorce me, you can ask for whatever. She didn't answer my question directly, but I wasn't in a rush. After all, playing the long game takes patience. I don't need the money. I'm sure it won't be long before the Caldwell family goes under. Then I suddenly changed my tone, my voice getting colder. I just want to know one thing right now. Who's the guy who had the balls to interfere and steal my woman? Sensing my anger, Vivian immediately laughed meanly. You're not worthy of knowing his name, but I can tell you this. He from New York, at a level you could never reach. Hearing Vivian's words, I almost laughed. Someone from the same place as me, and I wouldn't know them? Impossible. I was just curious who this person could be. To dare steal my woman. They must have a death wish. Before I could respond, Marcus grabbed the phone back. All right. Even if Vivian told you who it was, what could you do about it? I'd just take off your clothes, if I were you. That way you'll at least get some severance for a freeloader like you. That's a pretty sweet deal. Wouldn't you say? Facing Marcus's repeated crap, I didn't lose my temper. I held it in again and again. Not because I was scared of him, but because I still hadn't figured out who was behind all this. Now that the truth was out, I didn't need to put up with him anymore. Enough. I looked around the room. This meeting clearly can't continue. So now I'm giving all of you two choices. The smart one should leave immediately. Rest. I'll consider enemies. And I never go easy on my enemies. As soon as I finished, the employees around me burst out laughing. Everyone heard that, right? This boy toy is actually giving us choices. Hilarious.
Quinn.
You don't still think you're a manager, do you? Everyone heard that phone call. Even Vivian dumped you. What right do you have to talk big here? I held back my anger and said slowly, I wonder if any of you have heard the saying, there's always a bigger fish. When I do things, I never rely on women. I looked pointedly at the smiling faces, feeling let down. Was this what the workplace was really like? Usually when they called me a freeloader or boy toy, I just took it as a joke. But I never thought that just because Vivian wanted to divorce me, everyone would laugh at me. Was this what happened when you kept too low a profile? Because of my special status, I've been hiding all these years, rarely showing my face in public. Even when I occasionally heard company employees gossiping about me, I just laughed it off. But I never imagined my usual easygoing attitude would make these people think they could walk all over me. Seeing I still wasn't moving, Marcus's face darkened. Hey, Quinn, I'm counting to 3. If you still don't strip, I'll have them do it for you. I put my hands in my pockets and looked at him sideways. All right. I've played along with your little show long enough. Time to show you some real power. My words pissed Marcus off. He rolled up his sleeves and charged at me. Just then, the conference room door suddenly opened. All the employees, including Marcus, turned around. A guy about my age swaggered into the room. Mr. Foster, I heard you were asking about me. The man who swaggered in was dressed in a suit that cost more than Marcus made in a year. He had that slicked back hair and the kind of smile that said he'd never been punched in the face, but desperately needed to be. Julian Thorne, he announced, adjusting his cufflinks. He looked at me like I was a stain on the carpet. I hear you're the obstacle Vivian's been trying to scrape off her shoe. I stared at him. For a second, my brain short-circuited. Not out of fear, but out of sheer absurdity. Julian Thorne, the big shot from New York. Thorne? I repeated, a small smirk playing on my lips. The logistics company. Or, are you related to the Thorne who runs that mid-tier catering service in Queens? The room went dead silent. Julian's smug expression twitched. Watch your mouth, trash. I'm the VP of Thorne Global. We're expanding into Boston and the Caldwell Group is my first acquisition. Vivian is just the cherry on top. Marcus rushed over, practically wagging his tail. Mr. Thorne, this is the guy. Quinn Foster. He's refusing to leave. Julian walked up to me, invading my personal space. He smelled of expensive cologne and arrogance. Quinn, is it? Look, buddy. Vivian doesn't want you. The company doesn't want you. And frankly, your existence is boring me. Sign the papers, take the shirt off, and maybe I'll toss you a few grand for a bus ticket out of town. I looked at Julian, then at Marcus, and finally at the security guards who were unsure whether to tackle me or wait. Julian, I said softly, does your father, Robert, know you're in Boston playing Kingmaker? Julian froze. How do you know my father? I know a lot of people. I pull my phone out. Actually, I think Robert is currently begging for a meeting with the Foster Family Trust to keep your stock price from tanking. It'd be a shame if someone told the Fosters that the Thorne heir is out here harassing their estranged relatives. Julian laughed, a nervous, barking sound. You? You know the Fosters? You're a manager at a mid-cap company in Boston. You're nobody. Marcus, I said, ignoring Julian and turning to the assistant. You wanted me to strip, right? You wanted a show? I took a step back and unbuttoned my cuffs. The room held its breath.
Fine.
I'll give you a show. I didn't take off my shirt. Instead, I dialed a number on speakerphone. It rang once. Young Master Quinn? A deep, gravelly voice echoed through the silent conference room. We didn't expect to hear from you until the quarterly review. Victor, I said, my voice dropping the lazy facade I'd held for 3 years. Cut the funding. All of it. Project Alpha, the expansion loans, the credit lines for the Caldwell Group. Sir?
Victor paused.
That will bankrupt them within 48 hours. The board.
Do it.
And Victor? Flag Thorne Global for a hostile audit. Tell my grandfather that Robert Thorne's son is annoying me. Understood, sir. Initiating immediately. I hung up. The silence in the room was heavy, suffocating. Marcus looked at Julian. Julian looked at me, his face losing color. Who was that? Marcus stammered. Who the hell did you just call? I smiled, cold and sharp. The person who actually pays your salary, Marcus. You called me dead weight? You're about to find out just how heavy I really am. Within 10 minutes, the chaos began. It started with a phone ring in the back of the room. Then another. Then Marcus's phone buzzed. Then Julian's. Sir, an employee shouted from the back, looking at her laptop. Our bank accounts, they're frozen. Corporate cards are declining. What? Marcus shrieked. Julian picked up his phone. Dad? Yeah, I'm at the meeting, what? What do you mean the stock is crashing? Who is attacking us? He listened for a second, his eyes widening until they locked onto me. Quinn? Foster? He lowered the phone slowly. You're that Foster? The New York Fosters? I brushed imaginary dust off my shoulder. I told you, Boston is small. New York is a shark tank. And you just swam into the mouth of a megalodon. Vivian burst into the room a moment later. She looked frantic, her perfect hair a mess. She ignored me and ran straight to Julian. Julian, the bank just called. They're calling the loans. They said something about a breach of contract with a primary investor. You have to fix this. Julian backed away from her like she was radioactive. Get away from me. What? Vivian stopped, stunned. You didn't tell me he was a Foster. Julian screamed, pointing a shaking finger at me. You said he was a nobody. A orphan you picked up for a tax break. He is. Vivian yelled. He's just Quinn. He's Quinn Foster, you idiot. Heir to the Foster dynasty. They own half of Manhattan. Julian looked at me, sweat beading on his forehead. Mr. Foster. Quinn, look, this is a misunderstanding. I didn't know. You were just trying to sleep with my wife and steal my company. I finished for him. I walked over to the head of the conference table, Marcus's spot, and sat down. I kicked my feet up on the mahogany. Security, I said calmly. The guards, sensing the immediate shift in power, money smells distinct, and right now, I smelled like the only solvent thing in the building, turned toward me. Yes, Mr. Foster? The head guard asked. Toss Marcus out. He's fired. And take his badge. I don't want him leaving with company property. You can't do that. Marcus screamed as two guards grabbed his arms. Vivian. Ms. Caldwell. Help me. Vivian stood frozen, her eyes darting between me and Julian. She was processing 3 years of marriage. The silence. The lazy behavior. The way problems just seemed to vanish whenever I made a phone call. Quinn, she whispered. I didn't look at her. Julian, you have 3 minutes to leave Boston. If I see you in my city again, Thorn Global ceases to exist. Julian didn't hesitate. He didn't look at Vivian. He didn't apologize. He ran. The office was quiet. The employees had been dismissed, leaving only myself, Vivian, and her grandfather, Gregory Caldwell, who had arrived 20 minutes after the stock plunge. Gregory sat in the corner, looking 20 years older than he had this morning. Vivian sat across from me, tears streaming down her face. Not tears of sadness, but tears of fear. Why didn't you tell me? Vivian sobbed. Why did you lie to me for 3 years? I didn't lie, I said, flipping through the divorce papers she had prepared for me earlier that day. You never asked. You saw what you wanted to see. A trophy husband. A placeholder. I loved you, she lied. You loved the control, I corrected. You loved having someone to kick when you were frustrated.
And today?
Today you let your assistant humiliate me in front of the entire staff. You cheated on me with a third-rate suit like Julian. I signed the papers. There, I said, sliding them across the table. You wanted a divorce. You got it. Quinn, please, Gregory wheezed from the corner. The company, it's everything. Without your capital, without the Foster backing, we're insolvent. We'll be on the street. I know, I said. 3 years ago, Gregory, you begged my grandfather for help.
He sent me.
I built this place. I made you a top 500 company. And how did you repay me? You plotted to cut me out the moment you thought you were strong enough. I stood up and buttoned my jacket. I'm pulling all assets. The Caldwell Group will be delisted by Friday. The buildings will be foreclosed next month.
No.
Vivian lunged for my arm, but I sidestepped her. She hit the floor.
Quinn, I'm sorry.
I'll fire Marcus. I'll forget Julian. We can start over. I'll be a good wife. I looked down at her. She looked pathetic. The ice queen of Boston, melting into a puddle of desperation. You're not dead weight, Vivian, I said, echoing her words from the phone call. You're just irrelevant. 6 months passed. The fall of the Caldwell Group was the business case study of the decade. It was a brutal, swift dissection. Assets were sold off for pennies on the dollar. I didn't stick around to watch the fire burn. I went back to New York. I took my rightful place at the head of the Foster Corporation. I worked, I expanded, and I forgot about the little life I had played in Boston. Until one rainy Tuesday. I was leaving a Michelin star restaurant in Manhattan, my new assistant holding an umbrella over my head. My driver opened the door to the Phantom.
Quinn.
The voice was raspy, broken. I stopped. Standing near the valet stand, wearing a waitress uniform that was 2 sizes too big, was Vivian. She looked thin, tired. The shine was gone from her hair. I turned slowly. Ms. Caldwell. She flinched at the formality. I read you were in the city. I just wanted to. To what? I asked. To say I'm sorry, she whispered. And, I don't know. To ask if there's any chance.
No.
The word hung in the damp air. Vivian, you didn't want me when I was Quinn the manager. You don't get me when I'm Quinn the CEO. That's how value works. You sold low. You don't get to buy back in now that the price has skyrocketed. I'm working double shifts just to pay rent, she cried. Grandpa is in a state home. Marcus is in jail for embezzlement. I have nothing. I looked at her, searching for any spark of the pity I used to feel. I found none. You have your freedom, I said, stepping into the car. You wanted me gone so you could be independent. Enjoy it. Quinn, she screamed as the door closed. I tapped the glass, and the driver pulled away. I watched her in the rearview mirror, a shrinking figure in the rain, standing in the gutter where she belonged. I pulled out my phone. Victor had sent a message. Acquisition of Thorne Global complete. We own them, sir. What are your orders regarding Julian Thorne? I typed back a single sentence. Fire him. And make sure he keeps the company shirt. I tossed the phone onto the leather seat and looked out at the New York skyline. The city was bright, loud, and alive. Boston was a distant memory. The game was over, and I had won.